Hey, family, welcome to this first video of 2023. I'll take this opportunity right away to wish you a happy new year, good health, the whole package, the usual stuff. I hope you'll be able to realize your projects, whether you're relocated or not, if you have any. To start this new year, I thought I'm going to critique a watch that got a lot of attention last year. It's the TISSOT PRX. It's a watch I bought almost as soon as it was released, and it was a big disappointment right from the start in the end. I've seen dozens of reviews praising the merits of this watch. That's not the case for me, and I'll explain why. Let's go. Inspired by watches, the Tissot Vintage, the Tissot PRX POWERMATIC 80 watch is one of the best sellers of the Swiss watch brand. Founded in 1853, the Tissot manufacture is a staple of Swiss watchmaking. This company was one of the first to offer women's models since its inception. Quickly, the brand understood that marketing is an essential growth element in the competitive sector of Swiss watchmaking. From the 1940s, Tissot began to diversify its markets by broadcasting advertising films, but good marketing is nothing without good products. And Tissot quickly understood the importance of being a pioneer in the watchmaking field. In 1930, it provided the solution to the problem of omnipresent magnetic fields that disrupt timepieces. It then created the world's first non-magnetic wristwatch. Strongly inspired by sports and car racing, Tissot has been designing accessible and quality watches for over 160 years. And we will see if the same is true for this watch, Tissot PRX POWERMATIC 80. So this Tissot PRX POWERMATIC 80 is a watch I acquired in 2021, a unisex watch. Let's say, since its stainless steel 316L tonneau case measures 40 mm in diameter and about 11 mm in thickness, the watch houses the automatic caliber, Swiss POWERMATIC 80.111, which has an 80-hour power reserve. The watch is water resistant up to 100 meters. You'll find a fixed bezel, a signed crown with a scratch-resistant fire-enrayable coating, and an anti-reflective coating. Here, I'm presenting it to you on a custom leather strap simply because the lug width is in a special format. I'll give you the reference number that you can find in our article on MoonwatchFR. In terms of complications, this watch features a date function. So the case of the Tissot PRX POWERMATIC 80 measures 40 mm in diameter and about 11 mm in thickness. It is made of 306L stainless steel, and the barrel shape gives it a decidedly vintage look, reminiscent of its predecessor, the Tissot PRX 516. We find a fixed bezel that adds volume and especially brings shine to the case, which is brushed. The lugs are short, allowing the watch to have modern dimensions without going overboard. Continuing on, we find a crown signed with the T of Tissot, which allows you to set the time and date. The grip is quite good despite its small size, which also allows for winding the POWERMATIC caliber. Finally, a transparent case back reveals the automatic movement around the case back. You can read several inscriptions such as Tissot 1853, stainless steel, sapphire crystal, and water-resistant 10 bar. For your information, the POWERX in PRX specifically meant this resistance to 10 bar. Regarding the dial of this Swiss Tissot PRX watch, you should know that several variations are available. The model I'm presenting to you today is black with an embossed texture. The embossed texture is reserved for the model equipped with the POWERMATIC caliber, while the smoother and more sunburst textures are reserved for the quartz model. So, this pattern distinguishes the automatic versions from the quartz versions. It is much less intricate than other watches in the same price range and quite similar. By the way, with this PX, for example, I had presented to you on the channel, the Asian Tourbillon, where we find similarly integrated cases, a bit the same type of watch. And there we see that the dial is incredibly impressive. It's huge. Whereas here on this Tissot PRX, it's a big disappointment. The dial is dull with very little life. It interacts very little with the light. I would have liked to see reflections in different lighting conditions. Here, that's not the case. I am very disappointed with this dial. Secondly, we find silver applied indices that serve as markers Just like the baton-shaped hands, they are covered with luminescent material that fades quite quickly. Once again, a bit of a disappointment. I thought the lume would be of better quality. At 3 o'clock, there is a date window with a circled aperture. The integration is neat and it doesn't clash with the dial. Moreover, the readability is excellent. With black font on a white background written at 12 o'clock, you can read TISSOT 1853, while at 6 o'clock, you'll find the mention PRX POWERMATIC 80, which slightly spoils the dial. I think there's no need to overload it with this unnecessary text. And there's the small Swiss made under the 6 o'clock index. To finish, you'll find a scratch-resistant sapphire crystal with an anti-reflective coating that protects the dial and the hands. This anti-reflective treatment is far from exceptional. In fact, you can see it here on camera. I have the reflection of the window. On paper, it's there, but in reality, this anti-reflective coating is far from the best I've tested. So since I was disappointed by the dial, I thought I would be pleasantly surprised by the POWERMATIC 80 movement. It's been several months now that everyone is raving about it. The PRX is a great watch, excellent value for money, etc. So this POWERMATIC 80 caliber, it's already a caliber based on an ETA 28-24-2, which has been improved and offers a comfortable power reserve of 80 hours. So the power reserve is indeed 80 hours, and it's true that it's comfortable. It's nice to be able to set your watch down for a few days without having to adjust it when you pick it up again. It uses 23 joules, however, there's a big disappointment regarding its accuracy, as the deviation I observed is around 30 seconds per day, which is extremely disappointing from TISSOT, who could have fine-tuned the movement to achieve better accuracy. Here we have a watch that still costs a certain price, around 700 euros, with a deviation of 30 seconds per day. That's huge. Once again, I will compare it with the Lesion Tourbillon that I'm wearing today, a watch that I paid roughly the same for. Price, around 700 euros on Kickstarter. It has an accuracy that varies between 12 to 15 seconds per day. Here, we are at 30 seconds for a Swiss caliber. Honestly, it's not acceptable. So, this lack of precision is partly due to the frequency of the caliber, which oscillates at 21,600 beats per hour and not at 28,800 beats per hour. There are still some positive points. For example, the oscillating weight is beautifully decorated. It is silent and discreet, which is always appreciated when wearing a watch. For your information, there is a caliber for Hermetic 9-11, COST certified. Unfortunately, Tissot does not fit it into its PRX watches, and that's regrettable. Honestly, for the price of the watch, I find it regrettable to have such a significant drift. By the way, if you own a TISSOT PRX, feel free to comment. The drift of your model, is it just me who was unlucky or not? It's always interesting to know. So I bought this TISSOT PRX with the bracelet in steel. So an integrated bracelet, a fairly flexible steel bracelet without being too crazy, with a double butterfly clasp signed by TISSOT 1853. Obviously no micro adjustment. On this type of clasp, well, I'm going to be honest with you, this bracelet, it didn't convince me. First of all, I find that it makes the watch significantly heavier, and as a result, it can cause discomfort when worn. Fortunately, Tissot uses a quick release system, which allows you to change the bracelet quickly and easily without needing any tools. Unfortunately, the lug width format. Being an owner, it's going to be quite complicated to find compatible bracelets, even though now you can find custom-made ones. We're even starting to see them on AliExpress with this format dedicated to the TISSOT PRX. As much as I wasn't convinced by the steel bracelet, as much as with the leather strap that was custom made for the watch, it's a different story, and the watch looks fantastic. It is ultra elegant. Look at this strap. So this black leather strap has yellow stitching. Already this adds a bit of zest to the watch, because the watch, it's true, is really dull. With the black frame, I find this watch to be dull. It's a bit of a shame. Here, the yellow stitching adds some zest to the watch and livens it up a bit. All of that, it gives a much sportier look. In terms of comfort, it's much more pleasant than the steel strap simply because the leather is more flexible and especially because the watch is lighter when equipped with this leather strap. Regarding wearing comfort, the watch fits perfectly on my 7 cm wrist. It's really the perfect size. In terms of thickness, it's fine, even though once again, I would have preferred a slightly thinner case. Well, here we are at 11 mm, which is quite reasonable. Regarding the packaging, it's Tissot, so it's neat. We have a cardboard outer box with the Tissot logo, with the evolution of the brand's various logos over the years. Next, we find a red box with the Tissot logo printed on it. And when we open it, there we find the watch on a plastic display stand, the various documents, and the warranty card. What is unique about this packaging is the 3D assembly of the different Tissot factories, as well as the presence of the Swiss mountains. It's funny, it's the little nostalgic touch. I really like these kinds of little details. They don't cost much to make and they're always nice. The packaging is very, very beautiful, very, very neat. You should know that this watch on the Tissot website is sold for 695 euros, whether it's the blue dial, the black one, or other variations. I think only the Boucheron edition is more expensive. Why? Because it has a gold bezel, if I'm not mistaken, but that should be checked. By the way, the Boucheron edition for me is the most beautiful Tissot PRX there is. Unfortunately, it's sold out quite quickly. So 695 euros, but it can often be found for around 550, 600 euros, especially on Amazon. I'll put the links in the description. Feel free to click on them. If you're ever looking for a Tissot PRX, it simply helps support the channel. For those with slightly tighter budgets, you should know that it is still possible to find this Tissot PRX secondhand on the usual platforms, Boncoin, Vinted, eBay, etc. The price will then fluctuate between 450 and 550 euros, depending on the color of the dial, the bracelet, the condition of the watch, and the set provided. So there was such enthusiasm around the release of this ISO PRX that I was expecting an exceptional watch. But the fact is that this ISO POWERMATIC is a good watch that is worth 700 euro at most. Why not stop there, knowing that I have watches at 700 euro that are much more qualitative, better finished, and that excite me. This one doesn't excite me because of three main points that disappointed me. One, the steel bracelet, noisy, sufficiently flexible, quite heavy, but, well, I don't know. There's something wrong with this bracelet. On the wrist, it doesn't match. Two, a POWERMATIC AT movement, which is praised but is not precise, at least not in this non-COSC version. And as a result, that's definitely a deal breaker for me. Three, the dial, which severely lacks depth. This dial, it's empty, it's hollow, it doesn't play with the light, it doesn't catch the eye. I find this dial sad. So there are other watches like the Sion I showed you, where you really always have this attraction to the light. Here, in this black version, it's sad. So yes, we will have this embossing, a bit like the Royal OKP, except that on the Royal OKP, there are grooves in each of the squares. Here, Tissot just settled for a simple cutout, without any effect. As a result, it doesn't play with the light at all, and it's very sad. So for the price, you won't be disappointed with this. This PRX is a good automatic watch with a good quality price ratio, even if it's not precise. But I was overwhelmed by the marketing omnipresent from the brand and influencers on social media. And frankly, I expected a watch of a higher level in terms of quality, in terms of the pleasure of wearing it. There are still a few positive points about this PX. The vintage look that pays homage to the brand's historical model, the attractive price, the different dial variations. But I really think that if this bestseller from the Swiss manufacturer, Tissot, has managed to captivate the masses, it's probably thanks to an ultra attractive price on these first quartz versions. Indeed, the quartz versions were a stepping stone to the automatic versions, and I think that's what appealed to many. The buyers, especially since the quartz versions were available at 300 euros. By the way, in this case, if you had to buy a version, I would rather recommend the quartz version over the POWERMATIC version, especially because of these precision issues. There you go, folks. I hope my honest review of this bestseller from Tissot has pleased you. Feel free to leave a comment if you own one, if you like it, why, if you don't like it, why as well. It will be an opportunity to exchange views. Maybe I'm the one who missed something. Don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. Before leaving, remember to like our Instagram and give a thumbs up to the video if you enjoyed it. And especially subscribe to our little channel if you haven't done so yet. With that, family, I say see you soon in the next video. Bye.